All right, the Masters of the Universe movie is officially out. The embargo is lifted, and I've now seen the movie twice, so I think I'm ready to dive in with my full thoughts. What did I think of Masters of the Universe? Let's get into it. Hey guys, I am Pixel Dan, and if you are somehow joining me for the first time, welcome to the channel. Masters of the Universe is something that I have been talking about here for nearly 20 years. This is my favorite personal property, and obviously I've had a lot of fun opportunities leading up to the release of this movie, and this has been kind of an exciting past year. But now the movie is here, audiences have seen it, and it's time to finally dive in and really give you my thoughts on everything in the movie. I can finally get into details on it now. You might have already seen two previous videos I've done on this movie because a month or two ago, I got to see the first 20 minutes of the movie back at CinemaCon, and then I did release a non-spoiler initial thoughts after seeing it at the premiere. But now I really want to get into the movie itself and try to explain why I feel the way that I do about certain aspects of the movie and why I kind of talked about it in my non-spoiler review. I got to tell you, it was really hard to do a non-spoiler review or initial thoughts. And not only do I still feel like there was an enormous amount of pressure on me to make that video. I feel like there's an enormous amount of pressure on me to make this video. But it was really hard to convey my feelings without being able to explain to you guys why I feel the way that I do. So that's kind of what I'm going for today. This isn't going to be like a beat by beat retelling of the movie or review of the movie. I just kind of want to give some thoughts that have been floating in my head, just to put them out there as talking points. By the way, I apologize if the audio is weird, and obviously this is not my normal setup. I'm traveling right now, but I wanted to get this recorded, filmed for you guys while it was fresh in my head. So, full spoiler warning, do not watch this video any further if you have not seen the movie yet and you do not want to be spoiled. Let's get into it. All right, so in my initial reaction video, the thing that I said about the movie was that Masters of the Universe is a movie that is not afraid to be campy and silly for better or for worse. I mentioned that it has a lot of elements straight out of Filmation, and after seeing it a second time, I still feel the same way. When I talk about these sillier and campier moments, this is kind of what I want to focus on a lot now that I can really dive into it. I want to start by saying that I like this movie. I like this movie. I think there's a lot of things in this movie that are really good, but there are things in this movie that bug me. And maybe it's just because I'm a nitpicky fan. Maybe, I don't know, but I want to kind of talk through the things that bother me, but we're also going to talk about the things that I really like. So please just bear with me on this. I'm going to just kind of be talking and speaking from the heart. I just saw the movie for the second time today, so it's all kind of fresh in my mind. And I really felt like I needed to see it the second time so I can kind of piece together everything that I wanted to say. So, I've always said that I felt like the humor is something you should have here, especially if you're going very Filmation. If we're linking to Filmation was like the most popular thing for He-Man in the 80s, right? It's kind of what made He-Man mainstream. So it makes total sense to me that that is your point of reference for this movie. And I am all good with a little bit of humor. I am totally fine adding jokes here and there and being a little self-aware. I think where this movie really bugs me is the fact that it is too self-aware. There are too many moments for me personally, where it feels like they're doing that thing where they're making jokes and winking at the audience, almost like they're saying, wasn't that a funny joke? And that just doesn't really click with me. Very specifically, It's the names and the way that this movie treats these characters' names. Now, let me start by saying that I fully understand that the names in Masters of the Universe are silly. They're goofy names that were created for action figures, and they are silly. I don't mind a joke here and there to kind of poke fun at that. I think where it really became a problem for me is that they beat you over the head with it. They never really let it go. Fisto is obviously the biggest example. And if you might know, there's this Fisto meme, which is where somebody rewrote the words to one of the mini comic panels, making a joke about Fisto fisting the bad guys. And I do have to tell you that as somebody who's been a fan of this for a long time, I mean, like, I can look at that and I can laugh. Okay, that's funny. It's a funny joke. But I will tell you that, like, many friends of mine who are outside of the fandom have found this meme and sent it to me many times over the years, either just laughing at it or asking me if it's real or asking me if this is what Motu was really like. So when I say that I get that they make the Fisto joke, that's what I'm referring to. I understand why they did it. They did it because they're hoping that the mainstream audience is kind of be in on the meme and they're going to get the joke. I don't mind that they do it one time. The problem is they do it like 6 times. And it's between Fisto and Ram Man, and they even have a lot of weird sexual innuendos with it. And I said this in my initial reaction video. I'm no prude. I don't mind foul language or sexual jokes or anything like that, but it felt out of place in this movie. And like, we didn't need to do it. I think that's my problem with it. Like, I didn't laugh. I just was like, come on. Like, I brought my kids to see this movie. Come on, you know? So I think that's where it really bothers me. Where it bothers me the most, even worse than the Fisto and Ram Man jokes, is we're skipping all the way to the end of the movie now, but all the way at the end of the movie, which is the first time we hear the name He-Man, because Adam named himself He-Man, and everybody laughs at him. They all laugh at him. This is the name of your main character, and everybody's laughing at the name. Look, again, I just want to say that, like, I'm not oblivious to the fact that these names are silly. But if the movie treats these names seriously, the audience will treat it seriously. And if the audience wants to make a joke about Fisto here and there, fine. If you guys want to make one joke about Fisto, again, I'm okay with that. But I don't know. I just had a real problem with them all laughing at the He-Man name specifically. Because, like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? So really, I think that's my biggest issue with the whole movie. If there's one thing that I really didn't like that I had to nitpick, it's that. It's just too jokey, where it almost feels like it's making fun of itself. Now, I didn't get the feeling that the movie was making fun of me as a fan, because I still think that there's a lot to love here from a fan perspective. I think there's a lot of things that they did right. I think there's a lot of things that are different but are still cool. While the Earth scenes only take about 15 to 20 minutes of the movie, I will go on record and say that I still do not like the Earth scenes. And I could have done without that. I could have done without it. And I understand that this is the setting up the story for this particular universe, and Marlene is from Earth, and it makes sense that she sends Adam to Earth. I've been saying that even all through the trailers as my way of accepting that Earth is part of this. But the Earth scenes did not play well for me in the movie. Now, again, we got away from it fast, so it's fine. I can forgive it. We can move on, because the Eternius stuff is great. So let me start talking about some of the things that I love, because I feel like I'm dogpiling right now, and I feel like I'm giving the wrong impression that, like, I hate this movie, which is not the case. The entire opening scene to this movie, I love. Everything about it. I love all the stuff with Randor and Prince Adam's interaction, where you get a little bit of that feeling that Adam doesn't feel like his father respects him, and then maybe Randor is kind of not treating him like a son the way he should. Like, all of that is good. I love the entire attack sequence. The attack sequence is the 20 minutes that I saw at CinemaCon, and now this is my third time seeing that sequence, and it still played awesome. I love it. It feels like action figures on the screen fighting. Man-at-Arms, one of my favorite characters in the whole movie. I love every time Idris Elba's on screen as Man-at-Arms. I love his fight choreography. I love his feud with Trapjaw. The Man-at-Arms Trapjaw stuff, my favorite stuff in the movie. Those are my favorite parts of the movie. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Jared Leto's Skeletor is awesome. In my opinion, awesome. I know that there's negative connotation with Jared Leto, and I also was worried when he was announced as playing Skeletor, one of my all-time favorite villain characters. But if you didn't like this movie, I find it hard to believe that Skeletor would be the reason why, because I think Skeletor was done really well in this movie. There's a really good balance of Skeletor being a little silly in the Filmation sense, lots of throwing insults at his minions, lots of cackling and laughing, but he's still a threat. Like, he's a real bad guy. We get the toxic relationship with him and Evil-Lyn. I thought that played really well. You know, the way he mistreats Beastman and these other characters. Like, I liked Skeletor. I thought Skeletor was really, really well done in this. I talked about in my initial thoughts that I thought Nicholas Galitzine was a great Adam in He-Man, and I will still stand by that. Even watching it back on the second go around, I actually kind of found Adam to be a little too dumb sometimes. But overall, especially by the end, I do really like his portrayal of He-Man, because I've always been a big believer that the thing that makes Adam special, the thing that makes him stand out, is that he is a character who doesn't just punch. Like, he has empathy, he has courage, he cares about his friends. And I think Nicholas Galitzine did a good job of portraying that with He-Man. Sometimes they got a little too over the top with the HR stuff, again, tying back to Earth for my personal taste. But for the most part, I really liked the way he played this character. And I want to talk about the scene specifically that I thought was a really, really good scene for this movie. And that is when they head to Snake Mountain to face Skeletor head on. First of all, Skeletor does the whole speaking to all of Eternia in the projection in the sky, a la the 87 movie, and that's pretty awesome. But I love the way here that He-Man was just ready to march to Snake Mountain and kill Skeletor. Which feels out of character for He-Man, but this was done with a purpose, because I really love the scene when Teela's trying to tell He-Man this isn't the right thing to do, and He-Man responds by saying, "I have the power of a god." And Teela says, "But you're not a god, you're a man." But he reluctantly goes anyway, and she stands by his side, and her and Man-at-Arms go with him to Snake Mountain. And then we get like this really crazy epic fight scene where He-Man just takes on all of the evil warriors at once. This scene gets kind of nuts, because I will say that some of this feels a little over the top and violent for He-Man. At one point, he rips Goatman's horn off his head, stabs him in the throat with it, and then uppercuts him off of Snake Mountain into the lava. I was like, whoa, bro, that's a little over the line. But immediately following this, you know, Evil-Lyn traps him in magic, and he breaks out of the magic, and he throws the magic towards Skeletor, accidentally hits the wall collapses on his father, which ultimately kills his father. And this is an important lesson for He-Man to learn. This is the problem with power. This was their way of doing an iconic Filmation episode where He-Man learns that he has to be careful with his power. He can't just willy-nilly punch things. He has to think things through. He has to be more careful about everybody else around him. So while the scene felt a little over the top for He-Man, I understood what they were doing, and I enjoyed that he had to learn this lesson at the expense of losing his father. And we get that kind of emotional moment with Randor and He-Man. I like that. That was really good right there. So going into the final battle, we have the He-Man and Skeletor fight at the end, and Skeletor does the thing where he like goes into He-Man's mind to kind of pick apart his weaknesses, where we get some silly Earth shots again. It is what it is. Some of it's kind of fun. I didn't mind it too much. What I really liked here, like, because I want to say, first of all, I like that when Skeletor got the sword, it didn't just turn him into a he-Skeletor by saying the words. And the way he tried to figure that out, and the way that Evil-Lyn was clearly BSing him about how she thinks that she can make it work if they take it back to the castle, right? And then the sword breaks, right? And it's like, what the heck? So you're in that moment where Adam is basically dying, and he has that dialect with the sorceress, where the sorceress explains to him, Adam, what's the thing that you say? And he says, I have the power. And she says, that's right. You have the power. And she goes on to talk about how like the former champions of Grayskull fought with brute strength, but you're different. You're courageous. You care about other people. You have empathy. This is what makes you the champion of Grayskull. This is why you were chosen to be the vessel. And I really like that, because that's always been my thing. Adam is supposed to be special. He's supposed to be different. He's not just another guy in the lineage that gets to wield the sword. He-Man is different. Adam is special. And I like that they went there with this. I was really happy about that. And then the way that the sword came back together and he transformed into He-Man again, which I got to say, I brought this up in my initial reactions. The transformation sequence, especially the first one, still gets me right here. It makes me feel like a kid. Boom. I love it. I love it so much. It makes me really happy. I don't think I really liked this final fight scene, though. Like, after he turned back into He-Man, and you start getting those really weird sped up cuts of him just punching Skeletor, and Skeletor's even almost making goofy faces when he's getting punched. I don't know. It was kind of it was a weird choice. I do like that he hit him with a thunder punch, like with the lightning around his fist, and he punched him. What I don't think I like here was when Skeletor started begging off. He-Man says the time for talk is over. He breaks the Havoc staff and it kills Skeletor. It dusts him. And credit scene fixes this, thankfully. But in the moment, I was really upset about this because, first of all, I don't want to see Skeletor die. But I hate the movie trope that you have to kill the villain in the end, especially when the villain is so important to the story. Skeletor is so important to this story, he cannot die yet. This was He-Man and Skeletor's first confrontation, and He-Man kills him right away. I did not like that at all. Plus, why is He-Man killing somebody? I don't like that either. I just feel like we could have accomplished the same thing here. Skeletor could have retreated, and this would have been a great opportunity for him to even throw out the "until we meet again" phrase, right? Like, we didn't need the killing. We didn't need He-Man to kill Skeletor. Now, again, credit scene, very end of the movie, Evil-Lyn picks up the skull, walks away, fade to black, you hear Skeletor's laugh. Okay, so he's not gone. He'll be resurrected or whatever, which is good. We need more Skeletor. So that's kind of where I'm at overall with everything. Like, I do like the movie. I have some other smaller nitpicks, like I miss the secret identity. I wish Adam had a secret identity. I find it weird that everybody just knows about the sorceress and that everybody seems to know that the sword is powerful, and Skeletor is immediately going after the sword before He-Man is even using the sword. And Grayskull itself doesn't feel like it's the special fortress of mystery and power. Like, Skeletor's not trying to capture Grayskull. He just wants the sword. So that all feels a little weird to me. It's just different, and it's fine. I can accept it for this, but I just wanted to bring that up because it feels a little bit different. So yeah, man, that's where I'm at. I feel like I might have come off a lot more negative in this review, or this, it's not really a review, it's just my opinion. I didn't intend to come off super negative. I do like this movie. It's not perfect, which is what I said before. It's not perfect. I don't know if we could have got a perfect movie. It's tough. But if there's one thing I could fix, it's that we would tone down the jokes that feel like we're just like too self-referential. Just tone those down and get rid of the sexual innuendos. We didn't need those. So if we get more of these, just tone down them jokes. We were this close. I feel like we were this close to having it like totally perfect. Not totally perfect, but better. It would have been better if it didn't have those jokes. Those are the only hang up I really, really, really have, but I can't stop thinking about them. So obviously it bothered me enough. It bothered me after the screening, especially the more I thought about it. And then I knew I wanted to see it a second time. And then it's still like, I was hoping that going into the movie the second time, knowing what the movie was, that maybe I could laugh at them a little bit better, but I couldn't. They still didn't land with me. But maybe it's different, man. Maybe the mainstream audience does like it, does think it's funny. I mean, the movie's getting very positive reviews overall, and honestly, I'm glad it is. I hope we get another one of these. I guess we can talk about those credit scenes. Again, obviously, if you've come this far, we're spoilering the heck out of this, but I was really happy to see Orko in the first pre-credit scene, and Merman is in the background too, which is pretty fun. But the mid-credit scene is the one that blew my mind. Like, I cannot believe they went full on with She-Ra in the mid-credit scene. I was just expecting, like, I was so happy when we got that scene with Marlena talking to Duncan and she mentioned both of them, because I was like, there it is. That's the reference I was hoping for. I was not expecting it to then just cut to the freaking Fright Zone, and it looked just like the Filmation Fright Zone, and you see She-Ra directly after her first transformation, and a Horde trooper or somebody walks up to her and says, "Force Captain Adora, is that you?" And she says, "Not anymore." And then that's the end of it. So, like, I loved this because if you didn't know, there's always been a little bit of like licensing rights difference with She-Ra that makes her difficult to use with He-Man these days. So they must have worked something out, because I was not expecting to see this. B, we have an obvious setup for a sequel now with the Horde, which is awesome. Hopefully Skeletor's still there. He has to still be there. But it does beg the question of, like, she transformed to She-Ra without Adam bringing her the sword, or like, I mean, obviously we're going to go a different story route just like we did for this movie, but either way, I'm excited. I was excited. I marked out hard for that, especially at the screening, just because I couldn't believe I was seeing it. It was cool. So I think that's it. I think I covered everything. Those are my thoughts on Masters of the Universe. Look, I've had a really cool year, and I've gotten to experience a lot of cool stuff. With Mattel inviting me to visit the set, in Amazon MGM Studios, inviting me to the red carpet event, like, all of that is so cool, and I appreciate it so much, and I'm never going to forget these moments. All right, just because there's parts of this movie that I don't love, I still think it's so cool that I got to do all that. I still think it's so cool that this movie is bringing this property so mainstream, and I hope that it's nothing but positive going forward. Like, that's what I want. I just want it to be a positive, fun experience for everybody. There was like a thing that kind of hit me when I was watching it today. As much as I disliked the Earth scenes, there's kind of a bit of a something I saw in Adam, stuck in his boring, mundane 40-hour-a-week job, longing for the excitement of Eternia. And boy, how much do I relate to that? And how much do all of us relate to that? Sitting, like, I do YouTube videos, but this isn't, I work a regular 40-hour-a-week job, that's totally unrelated to this. And then in my time off, I play with He-Man toys on video. So it's like in that moment, I kind of like, oh, wow, Adam is me, Adam is us, right? Just longing for that little bit of excitement and adventure out there. So I don't know. I thought that was kind of cool. This has been a fun journey. Even though at the end of the day, I still obviously I love this property. And just like I said before this even came out, I got to take my kids to it today. Spencer especially loved it. He's a big Trap Jaw mark, so he loved the Trap Jaw stuff. That was really fun for me to see. And I just want nothing more than for this brand that I love to thrive and live on and continue to make people happy. So now you can let me know your thoughts. You can tell me if you agree or disagree. Feel free to tell me that I'm wrong. Hey, look, last time I did the initial thoughts video, I saw a couple people firing comments off at me that said that it doesn't matter what my opinion is, it only matters what their opinion is. And while those are aggressive comments, I want to say you're right. 100%. 100%. I'm not a movie reviewer. I'm just a guy that likes this stuff. And I wanted to sit here and talk about it and give you my opinion. But my opinion should not be your opinion. Your opinion should be your opinion. And that goes for everything that you watch on here. Toy reviews, whatever. Make up your own mind and stick to your opinion. Because it does matter. All of our opinions matter. Feel free to let me know what you think. Thank you guys so very much for watching. Good journey, my friends.